to More to Life. We're glad to have the other half of More to Life. Y'all, he hadn't been here in like, what, 2 months?
I've
Since you done
been missing y'all.
No, he's
2
been
months.
enjoying not recording these videos.
2 months.
Y'all ought to hear what goes
Too
into
long.
recording. We might include the bloopers. All you have to do is teach me the song. But anyway, so tonight we are talking about what?
You tell them.
So this, because you don't know. So I listened to a podcast, Her Space, and shout out to Cultivating Her Space. I think Cultivating is in front of it. But anyway, I listened to them. My cousin introduced me to this podcast, 2 wonderful ladies that lead it. And recently, it was back in the summer, they did a podcast about how to become a better partner. How to become a better partner. But I renamed it something else because I didn't want to plagiarize. And I'm a professor, so I know about plagiarism. That's why I gave them that shout out. That is the word cited. So we are going to discuss, we're going to tease out some of the ideas that they had in that podcast.
Tease out? What? Is that
Like
what the
hair.
Is that what the new people, is that what the hip, is that the new lingo?
No, I think that's actually an old.
Tease out? Okay. All right.
What would you have said?
We're just going to discuss.
But they've already discussed it. I'm trying to say that we are talking about it more. Anyway.
It's still a discussion in my book, but we can use this tease out.
They have established the ideas, the thoughts behind what we are about to discuss, and we're going to give our thoughts, add a little flavor. And I think it's all about becoming a team player in the marriage.
Yes.
Team player. And I chose team player because Lamar's into sports, so I thought that would maybe interest him.
Yes.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Let's dive into this list.
All right.
Okay, so one of the first things that they mentioned is learning how to communicate. And we've talked about this before. Being an effective and positive communicator is a spin that we put on it. But something else that they mentioned is to keep in mind it's important how you listen and how you talk.
Yes.
My face says it all. So even when I'm listening, I need to be actively listening. And got a phone call, but that's all right. I need to be actively listening and watching my tone, how I talk.
Yes, she does.
We're talking about
I thought it was going how we talk and listen.
All right, maybe.
Like today, she was making meatballs and she said something, and I'm like, you said that with attitude. I know I did, and I'm like, your face clearly. Oh, okay. But yeah, we can
go to the next one.
Yeah, but we both can do it, More so, I don't talk a lot. I talk a lot, but I don't talk a lot like if there's like conflict. Like I don't argue and all that.
But sometimes conflict is healthy conflict.
Yeah. But
It
I'm more direct, like if she say this and that, I'm like, okay. But sometimes when you say that, it's like, I want more, but I'm really saying, okay, I get what you're saying, like, it's done. So that's where I can do better, say, okay, honey, I get that you said X, Y, Z.
You start doing all that, and it's going to be fake, and I'm not hearing it.
Okay, I hear that you're saying this. Therefore, but anyway, number one.
But another part of that, too, is comprehending what's being communicated. I knew it was something else I liked. So a lot of times, I feel like Lamar is not actively listening. And sometimes, to be honest, I'm not actively listening. So being able to communicate back what you're hearing them say. And I'm liking this podcast. One of them is into psychology. I want to say she's a psychologist. So it's all about, I heard you say this, just to make sure you're interpreting correctly.
Right. Yes, because I'm always listening. All right. I like this one. So agree on how finances will look for your household and create a plan, create a budget. So, because, so I think, we've been married almost 10 years. this has looked different in different seasons of our marriage, um, and so um, I think this is spot on because we talk to a lot of different couples and just this is a big thing. A lot of divorces are around finances. So when we first got married, usually you have a saver or spender, uh, and I was always a saver. And Taylor wasn't a bad spender, so we didn't have really issues like that. But more so of like, hey, when you starting off married, you might not have the funds and means to just buy what you could have bought when you was living at home and didn't have any responsibilities. Or so, my background, I was basically an adult, 16, 17, having to provide, so more so budgeting and making things stretch. So, sitting down and make sure that you're on the same page and that you both agree on things is just, very key. And writing it down. A lot of people don't write down and actually have a budget and then do check-in. So you write down, have a budget, and then talk finances. Talk, building wealth, have those conversations. I know a lot of people like to avoid those, but that's part of life.
He had a lot to say on that one. That's all right. We have a financial meeting every night, just about.
All right.
Next. Okay, so for this one, in marriage, we know what married people do. So you want to create a healthy, we'll say intimate environment. By healthy, you want to, of course, keep it spicy. You want to do things that...
Spicy? I know.
What do you want me to say?
No, that's just funny. It just was...
Are you blushing?
That tickled me.
Oh.
As you say.
Tickled your fancy.
What did you say? It was...
teased out.
Teased.
Well... that could be.
I know. I just wanted to say that word because it don't make sense.
Okay. Anyway, so a healthy, intimate environment. Mm-hmm. So this just is not confined to the bedroom, but it's also how you talk to your spouse. You're still in a way dating your spouse, so different actions towards your spouse throughout the day.
Yeah, kind of like the love languages.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people heard about that book. Read that. Understand your spouse.
And if you do that early on, I feel like you'll have success early on. Once you understand how does your spouse want to be loved or need to be loved.
And it evolves. And all this stuff that we're talking about, we're in no way experts and we still have ups and downs. And, that's what marriage is about. It's a journey, know. On this journey, it's hard sometimes.
Next.
All right. So next, I like it says have a solid sense of self.
Yes.
Know who you are outside of your spouse.
Yes.
And so I am a very, very confident individual.
A little too confident.
And so you got to, believe in yourself. I play sports, so I'm very competitive and, think I'm the GOAT in like about everything or whatever that may be. But more so.
And honestly, I would say in the marriages that we've observed over the years, just different people we know, or even some celebrities, a lot of times this, for whatever reason, it's the woman that loses herself. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what my takeaway is. I see a lot of times the woman just loses herself and she becomes like, her identity is her mate. And you don't
or
wanna,
kids.
That's a very big one too.
I have friends or people I talk. That's all they can talk about is like the kids.
Yeah.
Like when we go on a date. Sometimes I'm like, Taylor, we're not talking about kids.
Yeah, that's a rule.
Or we're not gonna shop because we end up ending in Carter. It's like, I gotta get this for the kid. I'm like, no, this is not. We're not talking about the kids.
I couldn't shop for the kids.
Nothing for kids.
Anyway, know yourself. You are an individual before marriage, before kids, and keep building on that individual.
And do stuff for yourself, like have a girls' weekend or a trip, or go, have a spa day, or I get massages, like do self-care. Like you still an individual. Like when you got married, you were two individuals. You're still two individuals.
Yes.
Of course, you need to be on the same page.
Right. That don't mean we don't operate as one.
Yeah, correct.
But we still are two individuals.
Yeah. I still have interests that I had prior to that just because we married them, oh well, you can't do this anymore. Now, of course, there are things, but
we're talking like sports,
like healthy
yes,
interests.
example needed. So he liked sports before that. I mean, just because he's married to me, he's like, oh, I never go to a game again because I'm married.
Right.
No.
She likes to shop all the time.
Yes, and I will continue.
Anyway, all right. So moving on, we got a couple more that I'm not gonna hold you long.
Why'd you
but
like
I'm gonna hold you strong.
All that talking.
All right.
All right. Next, they mentioned how you want to heal from trauma and past experiences that had a negative impact on you. Do the work that's going to make you better. So I feel like this is a lot, especially in our culture. I will say there are a lot of traumas that people don't heal from. Whether that has to be something emotional, physical, mental, whatever. When you're walking into a relationship with an individual, you want to make sure you have done the work to heal from whatever that fill in the blank thing is. Because if you don't heal, that stuff will follow you into your marriage and have a negative impact a lot of time.
So the next one is be considerate. And so I can say I've been on Taylor so thus far, but this is one usually the male, usually falls victim to. I know I can be more considerate. Because women is just in their nature. They sacrifice and think of others. We're not most and be considerate. And like men, we're considerate to a degree, but we're a little bit more selfish. So I know I can be more considerate. Like I may want to do this, or I might want to do this, and like, well, she wants to do these things or other things too. So just to.
And I would say too, to add on to that, a lot of times in order for your mate, your spouse, your partner to be considerate, you have to communicate effectively. That goes back to the first one. So maybe you don't know that I'm needing some consideration. So it all plays into, I think that communication almost lays the foundation for a lot of this.
Yeah, but I definitely communicate when I want something. Hey, I need to go get a massage, bouncing. Hey, I communicate.
Cookies from Dollar General. Okay, next video.
I'm doing better. I'm on a diet, so I've been, no sweets.
I keep telling him it's a lifestyle.
Don't do that. I'm slim and trim. Anyway, moving on. The last one that we want to talk about is accept your partner for who they are. If I like cookies from Dollar Store,
that ain't what that was talking about.
You let me get my caramel shortbread cookies.
I will add what they said. What's the last thing?
You can encourage your partner to be the best, but don't seek to change your partner.
Yes. And that was something that I struggled with early on in our marriage. And there are some things that I still don't like that Lamar does, and there's some things probably that I do that he still doesn't like. But if it's not damaging to the relationship, y'all, stop trying to change him.
And I'm gonna say this video, show her this when it comes to that point, because I'm pretty sure in like a week or so.
Maybe tomorrow. Transparency.
Or it's not a hill worth dying over. Now we did go to Grace Marriage. Our church does a program called Grace Marriage, and some stood out there for me. A lot of times like, oh, this is the way I am. I'm not going to change and do all that. But there are certain times where God has called us, to change and better ourselves for a spouse that you mentioned to. So not being stubborn was like, I'm not going to change none of my ways. Right. There are certain things for the good of your relationship. As
if you need some examples, hit up my inbox.
As a couple and all that type of stuff.
Yes.
That you do better. But the core of like, oh, you can't change that person. That's like core, just, morals, foundations, like who that person is. It's hard to expect change. If you married that person with those, that's, what that is.
Yeah.
And you can work through those, and that person may change, and there got to be some grace there. But, yeah.
Cool. So the challenge that this podcast left us with was, what are you doing to be a good partner? And this is something that we encourage you all, have this discussion. Like we're about to have it now, and tease out what we just said. What are we doing as individuals to become a good partner?
Yeah. So spend some time, share, comment on what some things you guys are doing. We're gonna, probably, spend some time tonight, just, have some, one-on-one time and discuss this. And so that's one thing too, it talks about dating your spouse. Sometimes it's just where you guys are just at home and having good conversations and dialogue. Taylor has these cards that she buys. But I enjoy them though.
He
I enjoy
enjoys
them.
them. They're from Amazon. We'll mention those one day.
Yeah, but they're good conversation starters. So just about an array of different things. So, anywho, thank you for tuning in to More to Life, or as Carson
Glad to have
says,
you back to add more to life.
don't call me back. But as Carson say, more videos.
More videos.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Bye. What's that song? Yeah. What's the song? You know what I'm talking about. Don't even do that.
That's not the song. Come on.
How'd I go?
Come on. I got stuff to do.
Don't start rushing me.
I'm gonna do a behind the scenes. You need to put this on there. You don't even know. You don't get
Tell me how I go.
you don't know.
All you had to do was help me and tell
All
me.
right,
how I go.
5-5.
Oh, 5-5. I knew it was something.
Hey, you wake up the kids, you gonna make another one.
Okay, we'll do it.
I don't know, go, come on.
Irritating my throat.